My name is Daniel Harris. In the fall of 2019, my wife Laura and our two children, Emma and Jack, moved to Blackwood Manor, an old estate nestled in the dense forests of New England. We were looking for a fresh start, far from the chaos of city life. The manor, a sprawling Gothic mansion with tall towers and narrow windows, exuded an aura of mystery and history. The locals spoke in hushed tones about the former owners, the Blackwood family, who had mysteriously vanished in the late 1800s. Since then, the manor had stood empty, with rumors of sinister events deterring anyone from living there. In the first few days, we began to settle into our new home. However, a sense of unease hung in the air. Strange sounds echoed through the halls at night, and doors closed by themselves. Laura said it was just the old plumbing and the house settling, but I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. While organizing the attic, we found an old diary hidden in a dusty trunk. It belonged to Margaret Blackwood, the last resident of the manor. In its pages, she recounted disturbing events, shadows that moved on their own, whispers coming from the walls, and visions of a dark figure in the corridors. Margaret described her growing sense of despair and fear, believing that the house was possessed by a malevolent force. One night, while Laura was in town with the kids, I decided to explore the manor alone. In the basement, I found a locked room we had never seen before. Forcing it open, I discovered an improvised altar filled with melted candles and strange symbols drawn on the floor. In the center of the altar was a photo of the Blackwood family, with all the faces scratched out except for one child. Frightened, I returned to Margaret's diary and found an entry that mentioned ancient rituals performed by the Blackwoods to keep an entity at bay. Over time, the rituals were forgotten, and the entity began to manifest more strongly. Margaret believed the entity demanded a sacrifice to be appeased. That night, things got worse. Laura and the kids returned home and began to notice the paranormal activity. Jack would wake up in the middle of the night screaming that someone was in his room, and Emma started having recurring nightmares about a dark figure. Laura, usually skeptical, also began hearing whispers and feeling a presence around her. One night, during a violent storm, the power went out, plunging the house into darkness. Seizing the opportunity, the entity began its attack. The doors and windows locked themselves, trapping us inside the manor. Screams echoed through the halls as we ran, trying to escape, but it seemed the house was alive, manipulating our path. One by one, my family members were taken by the entity. Laura was the first, dragged into the darkness by invisible hands. Emma and Jack were found lifeless in their rooms, with expressions of pure terror on their faces. I was the last, but managed to flee to the attic, locking myself inside. In the attic, I found one more entry in Margaret's diary that I had never seen before. She revealed that the entity was not just a vengeful spirit, but an ancient force that fed on the fear and suffering of people. The Blackwoods had made a pact with it, offering sacrifices to ensure their own safety. When they stopped fulfilling the pact, the entity turned against them. As I read, the truth became clear. We were just another sacrifice to appease the entity. Knowing my end was near, I wrote this last entry, hoping someone would find it and know the truth about Blackwood Manor. A few months later, a new couple moved into the manor, attracted by the low price and the beauty of the place. They knew nothing about the house's dark history, and the entity, now satisfied with the last sacrifice, was quiet. But for how long? Blackwood Manor continued to guard its secrets, waiting for the next unsuspecting family.